Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to Geekazine, and today we're going to be doing some reviewing. We're going to check you and show you the new OS X Lion, which of course I downloaded a couple days ago. Got to play with a little bit, and so I got a better idea of the new features, what happens with the download, so on and so forth. So, for all of you who haven't downloaded Lion, it's actually a pretty decent application. Of course, you need to be on Snow Leopard, and of course, your Mac has to support the operating system for Snow Leopard, let alone Lion, for that matter. So, if you've got a PowerPC, you're pretty much out of luck. Sorry, but you can stay on the operating system version you are for Mac for those. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. To get Lion, it's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is go into the Apple App Store, the Mac App Store, and download Lion. Now, if you don't have the Mac App Store yet because you haven't upgraded to that version, you need to, of course, upgrade to that version. Once you've upgraded to that version, it'll give you the option for the Mac OS X, and then, of course, you can go ahead and download it. It's about 3.7 gigs, so of course be on a good connection. If you got many people watching movies and stuff like that, it might not be the best time because it's going to zap some of your internet connection just to download this. I have a 20 meg down, 2 meg up connection, and it took about 20 minutes to download the whole thing as I was watching movies on my Netflix. So once I downloaded it, it went through the install. It asked me to reboot the computer, so of course save all the documents, save all the work you were doing. It's a good idea to back up your machine as quick as possible, and before you start doing the install. It reboots the computer. Takes about, well, on my laptop, my MacBook Pro, which is an i7 2.3 gigahertz machine, it took about 30 minutes to install. So, and of course, times vary depending on what type of MacBook Pro you have or Mac you have. The faster the Mac, the faster the install is going to be. When it boots back up, and before it boots up in a Mac, this is one thing that I noticed. I actually do boot camp on my Mac because I do use Windows on this machine. And to get to a dual boot, you would hold down the Option key on the boot. And basically, there was actually a third partition once the OS Lion was installed. This is the recovery disk. Now, see, you can't get a disk anywhere. And in a couple months, they're going to be offering a thumb drive for an additional, I think it's like $20, $30. It's going to be like $79 for OS Lion on a thumb drive. Excuse me. So, right now, the only way to do that is download. So if you have a problem, then you can actually use this recovery partition to reinstall Lion if need be. Now, before you install Lion, the one thing that I always recommend is you go in and you do your permissions, repair your permissions. I'll show you how to do that. All you have to do is go over to the utilities, which is right there. We'll bring that up on the screen, cover that screen, and we'll go over to disk utility, right there. Open that up, and then inside disk utility, it gathers disk information. You choose your disk, and then of course you choose the repair disk option. I'm not going to do that right now because of course I'm running this video. So, but you need to be on this first aid tab, and then you hit the repair disk, and of course that'll check all the permissions of the programs. Not all the programs will be repairable. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times sometimes, but sometimes you'll just be permissions you'll have to pass through. Like once I put on Google Chrome, I noticed that there's a couple permissions that don't reset from there, but it's perfectly fine like that. So anyway, neither here or there. Repair your permissions, then install Lion, especially if you've got an older machine and you've done a lot of work on it, installed a lot of programs on it. Make sure that you've got your best foot forward before doing the install. So, all right, so we've installed Lion. What's the new features for Lion? Well, if we go over to the desktop, I'm going to show you this again. We'll bring this up. I got a few different icons up here. Of course, we have my my connection to the Mac the .Mac, I think it is. Yeah, of course. And then of course we have the time here, my battery, my volume, my Wi-Fi, my Bluetooth. If I've got my time machine configured, this is a special program that lets me use USB video to my main TV, and then of course Evernote, which I have open right now, and then the Spotlight feature over here. Pretty cool. Down here we have some new icons on the screen. Whoops, let's go down here. The first one, you have the Finder, and the first icon you'll see on the left is this program called Launchpad. Now Launchpad will bring up this program right here, and if you have an iPad, this looks very, very familiar to you. This is just basically your iPad. As you can see, I have two screens. You can do multiple screens. You have the folders. Like for instance, I have the social networking folder with FaceTime, GarageBand, iCal, iChat, so on and so forth. You can create your own folders. I did this one for productivity. I put mail in here. We'll take it out to show you how straightforward it is. So we'll take mail and we'll hover it over this, and poof, it's right in, and it's created its own folder. And of course, I have a lot of other programs here too. It's a great way to see your applications without having to hit this application folder, because that gets a little bit weird looking, especially if you're trying to sort through all the applications. So, but anyway, so Launchpad, pretty straightforward. Like I said, if you're an iPad user, this looks very familiar. If you use iPhone, this is also pretty similar and familiar, and very, very easy to understand. All right, the next feature we have is this Mission Control. Now, as you see, as I press this, Mission Control basically is showing me everything that I have open right now. On the left side, you'll see my Wirecast. On the right side, I have two instances of Chrome. I have two windows of Chrome. One window has 5 or 6 tabs. The other one has 2 tabs in it. Up here, I've got my dashboard and my desktop. And the more stuff I have open, and you can add another screen, another places screen, I guess is what this is called, and you can really sort it from here. And that's all through this Mission Control. As you can see, you press the button, there it is, and you can go from there and bring it back and forth. But the other cool thing about this is that not only can you get to some of these programs through the buttons on the bottom bar there, but you can also use what's called swipe technology. They now have multi-touch technology on your trackpad. So, for instance, we're going to go over to this screen right here. Hopefully my head won't get in the way of the screen. There's my head, of course. So, and of course, this is my trackpad right here. And then up here, you're seeing the screen. And we'll get it off that so that doesn't get too annoying. Basically, you can use different finger strokes, keystrokes, to do different things. Like for instance, you take your 3 fingers and you set them down, you swipe it over, and then of course here is your widgeted dashboard. So you can see I haven't done too much with the widgets, but you have the date, the calculator, the clock, and the weather. It looks like we're going to get some rain today and tomorrow, which is sad. But if I move back, I just swipe back with the 3 fingers, swipe forward, swipe back. Once again, this is something that if you've owned an iPad or any tablet for that matter, you got kind of used to the back and forth, except instead of 1 finger, you got to use 3 fingers. If you use 1 finger, doesn't do anything. Use 2 fingers, doesn't do anything. Got to use 3 fingers. Another thing, as you saw, if you do use 2 fingers, they got some great functionality here. The one thing that I really enjoy is the scroll feature here. Like for instance, this is Telestream and Wirecast. By the way, if you use Wirecast and you update to Lion on your Mac and you want to use Desktop Presenter, it's not ready yet. It's not supported on Desktop Presenter. In fact, when I tried to load it, when I used Desktop Presenter, it just looked like a jumble mess, which is why I had to set up a second camera behind me to get the screen. So, but anyway, so let's move over to my Google Plus account here. Of course, here's my Google Plus account. If you don't know what a Google Plus account is, that's a different conversation altogether. But as you can see, I'm using 2 fingers, and I'm just scrolling up and down. with these two fingers. And I found this really, really useful. It's very, very intuitive, very cool. Of course, if the screen went right and left, I could use the two fingers to go right and left. So whatever you're doing, it does a full scroll. But the one thing with my other laptop, which is a PC, I've got that little scroll bar on the right side. And what's really frustrating about that is when I'm moving around with the one finger, I accidentally hit that scroll bar, and then it does this whole scroll thing. On the other hand, I missed that feature with Mac. But now with the two finger option, I've got it all back, which is really, really cool. So anyway, you got two fingers to scroll. You got the three fingers to move back and forth. The other thing with the three fingers is to bring up mission control. Three finger swipe up, mission control. Swipe up again. I'm on the screen that I was on. Back up to mission control. Back down, which is pretty cool. Now there is a pinch feature. Although the pinch feature is acting really funny. I don't know if it's because of Chrome or if it's because I haven't really tested it with some other programs. But if you take two fingers, because I try to do it this way, and it's kind of touch and go, but as you can see, I shrunk it a little bit, but it's easier to do it this way. Now I'm scrolling it up and bringing it back down. This is great for you Photoshop users out there, anybody that needs to zoom something in so they can see it. Any type of program that would work that way. Once again, I don't have much need on the Mac side for that, but it's kind of cool. If I need to zoom in and zoom out on a screen, I can do that, of course. So some other features. There's also a tap, which I have to zoom in, and that seems to not work the way I've expected it to. Once again, I don't know if it's just because of the programs I have installed. I have yet to have the tap feature work for me, which I'm a little confused on that. If anybody wants to help me out with that, if you're saying, well, you're doing it wrong, then let me know. But from all the literature that I've read so far, it just says you tap on it and it's supposed to zoom in, and I haven't been able to get it to zoom in at all. So I'm kind of confused as to what's supposed to be doing there. So anyway, that's those features on the on Mac OS line. There's a lot of other great features here. Like for instance, they have an updated mail feature where they've got the programs for mail. They've improved on that. They use what's called a full screen app, which if you see on, let's see if you can see it here. On the screen, on the Google Chrome screen, you'll see this double arrow right about here. And if you press on that, that will bring that full screen. And of course, if you want to get out of full screen, it gets a little bit trickier. You got to know how to do that. So you might want to check up on that, because I had a heck of a time the first time I tried to get out of full screen mode. But I think it's just you go up to View, and then you go to Command 0 or Command F to exit out of full screen. So it took a little bit of thinking on that. So anyway, we talked about mission control. We talked about the Mac App Store. Oh, we didn't talk about the Mac App Store. Of course, like I said, with Mac, it comes with an App Store, which is pretty cool. I downloaded a couple applications. There's a lot of free applications you can get there. Twitter's free. You can buy Adobe Photoshop Elements, which is $79.99. Of course, Final Cut Pro 10. I did this one game. This is really weird. It's called Gun Disassembly, which it lets you choose a gun, and you're supposed to learn how to disassemble it. But the problem is you need an actual mouse. The Trackpad mouse just doesn't really cut it too well. So I need to get an actual mouse to play it, because it'd be kind of fun to disassemble. It's one of those things I just had a little bit of knowledge in doing that, and it's kind of fun to do. But to do it virtually, it's really cool. So anyway, so you have the OS 10 the App Store, the Mac App Store, which is where they want you to go to download all your applications. That's where you're going to download Lion. That's where you're going to download your iLife or your iWork or anything like that. They're getting rid of disks, so eventually, which is really odd because if they get rid of disks, then the Apple Store will be open up for more hardware but not software. Then again, you have the Genius Bar. So if you have any problems with downloading OS X, you don't want to do it, you don't want to do the install, you can set up a time over at the Genius Bar and they'll do it for you. So they're really good at that. So we talked about Launchpad. Resume option was pretty cool. When I go to shut down or reboot the computer for some reason, it'll say, hey, it'll give me a checkbox. Do you want to remember the programs that it had open, and then it'll reopen it for you. I like that feature, but there's going to be times where you're going to want to not have that checked. Like, for instance, if you're having any problems and you're doing some troubleshooting, don't check the boxes, because the idea is that you want to open up programs as you go to find out where the problem lies. So, but the resume option, for some of you, you'll really love it, because then it'll just open right back up to where you were, especially if you're doing an update and it says, hey, we got to reboot on that. You have the autosave feature, which we showed you at the beginning of the video, which is, of course, the time machine. It's going to give you an option to do autosave on different documents, and another feature called versions, which will let you, if you're writing a Word document or something like that, it's going to save a version, and then every so often it'll save the next version. That way you can go back to a previous version, which is really cool. So you'll have, like, let's say you're 5 versions in, you go, you know, that paragraph that I deleted 3 versions ago, I want that paragraph back. So now you can dig through the versions, find the paragraph, and put that back into your document, which is pretty cool. What else do we got? We got this new program called AirDrop. And AirDrop, what it is a way to drop a file to somebody else's Mac that's about 30 feet away. So what you do is, and you don't need Wi-Fi, the machine will do it. As long as both machines are online, they go through a special protocol. But basically, you click the AirDrop icon in the Finder sidebar, and then it discovers all the other machines. You choose the person that you want to drop your file to, and then of course it asks them, do you want to see that in documents? They go in their download files, and they see AirDrop or their program in there. So AirDrop, pretty cool little program. They updated the mail program, and of course, if you use Server, then there's a better connectivity with Server. There's a whole ton of other new features. They updated the what else did they update? They updated accessibility. They gave you AppleScript, the Automator, the iChat, the iCal, all the iLife stuff. QuickTime Player, Safari got an update. All the networking got an update, Launchpad, so on and so forth. So just a lot of great programs got updates to OS X Lion. So far so good. I am enjoying Lion a little bit more, and I'm finding myself in Mac OS X a little bit more than Windows, because I'm probably about 70 to 80% of the time I'm in Windows as opposed to Mac. But so far so good. I'm really enjoying that, and of course I don't have all the programs that a lot of other people have. So if you see any programs, any problems, let me know. Of course, my handle is Geekazine. You can find me at Geekazine, the Twitter handle down there. You can also get me at geekazine@gmail.com. What do you like about Lion? What don't you like about Lion? Let me know. Once again, if you're using the program that I use called Wirecast, you cannot use Desktop Presenter because it's got a really weird distorted screen. I think it's because of the Thunderbolt update that was done to the display port. So, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I'm assuming that Wirecast is working on a fix as we speak. All right, well, that's it for Lion. I hope this is this tutorial will show you a little bit more about Lion, get you more pumped up to upgrade to Lion, and get running off of the Lion system. So we're going to do some more tips and tricks on Windows side, on the Mac side, and anything if you have a question on that, let me know. Like I said, my Twitter is @Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for watching and listening. My name is Jeffrey Powers, and until next time, check out everything over at geekazine.com. We got Geek Smack on Tuesday, the 5 tech things you should know about on Thursdays. The Day in Tech History is a podcast that runs 7 days a week. So brand new episode is right now. So go listen to another episode of Day in Tech History. And of course the special media feed where we do go out to conferences, we do reviews, and so much more. So check that out over there. Thanks for watching, and my name is Jeffrey Powers, and until next time, take care.